Evan Marinofsky here for NCAA Digital, and it's time. It's time to do something we've never done here at NCAA.com, and that is to try and predict the 2022 Division I men's ice hockey bracket 5 months in advance. 2 weeks into the season. No chance any of these are wrong, right? No chance. No chance. Now, before we get into it, we have to do some ground rules. There's 16 total teams in the tournament. 6 come by way of winning their conference. 10 come by way of at-large picks. Now, those at-large picks are according to committee rules, and I had to take those all into account when making mine. I also had to remember some rules for making each regional. Now, there's 4 regional sites, 4 teams per regional, and if a host city's team is in this tournament, they have to be at their own host site. So in my case, Denver was the only one that I had to take into consideration. I also had to make sure that 1 to 2 teams at each regional were within driving distance and were close enough to travel. Now, I actually think I did better than 1 to 2. Some teams might disagree. Some teams might agree. Who knows? We'll see what happens. The other thing I had to remember was that no conference teams could play each other in the first round. So that's how I picked my bracket. Now let's get into my number 1 seeds. Number 1, I had Michigan. Number 2, I had St. Cloud State. Number 3, I had Minnesota State. And number 4, I had Minnesota. There are 2 trends among those seeds: good goaltending and experience. Minnesota State with Dryden McKay and Minnesota with Jack LaFontaine both have 2 of the best veteran goalies in the country. That usually comes up huge during this time of year. Also, just 2 weeks into the season, and Dryden McKay beat UMass twice and has tied Ryan Miller's record for most shutouts in D1 men's college hockey history, so there's that. The experience comes into play with St. Cloud State and Minnesota State, as both schools were in the Frozen Four just last season. Now, obviously, St. Cloud State is playing with added motivation after losing in the national title game. Minnesota also has a ton of veteran guys, and it's going to be interesting to see if Michigan can match that with their younger, more inexperienced core. Now, these 2 teams play each other 4 times this year, which is going to be wild. And both are stacked in their own ways. We'll see who comes out on top. My pick, Michigan wins the Big Ten this year. Now on to my other conference champion picks. I have AIC winning the Atlantic. I have a really good Quinnipiac team taking the ECAC. I have St. Cloud State taking the NCHC. And I have Minnesota State winning the CCHA. Now another notable pick I have is UMass, the reigning national champ, finishing as a 2 seed and winning Hockey East. The Minutemen will be heading to Colorado to play Denver in my scenario, which would be a great rematch of the 2019 Frozen Four semifinals. Now, some fun sleeper picks I have are Western Michigan, Harvard, and Arizona State. Western Michigan is an underdog pick from the NCHC. It returns all 10 of their top scorers from last season, so they're certainly not lacking in the experience department. Harvard has one of the best recruiting classes in the country, sporting 11 NHL draft picks on its roster. That's a team I expect to make some real noise in the ECAC. And then there's Arizona State, which is a really fun team that'll rebound big this winter. It's the Sun Devils' last season at Oceanside Arena, and they'll play 20 games this year, as opposed to 0 that counted last season. Expect them to leave their mark. So that's my bracket. We still have 5 months until the 2022 NCAA tournament, but here's one thing I know for sure. It's going to be a crazy ride. Make sure to follow along with that crazy ride all season long here at NCAA.com for all of your college hockey coverage.